Yo guys, what's up? It is Tim Burzens here from Amplified Metabolism. How you doing today? I'm doing pretty well myself. A little tired waking up, but went through my morning routine and now I'm ready to hit it today, to crush it, and to do all of the wonderful things that I have planned. But first, time for the video. Time for us to talk about something involving metabolism, something that's gonna help to direct your diet in order to raise your metabolism to the next level. And that topic is fat. What are the best fats for raising your metabolism? But before we get into exactly what fats that you should be eating, how they raise your metabolism, what the purpose of them is, all that good stuff. First, I do want to say that I've talked about this in previous videos, but fat is less metabolic than carbs are. And the reason has to do with the fact that fat, when it gets broken down in the oxidative metabolism, will create less CO2. Since CO2 is needed to get oxygen into the cell and even to get oxygen from the air into your lungs via the Bohr-Haldane effect, where CO2 and oxygen are needed to swap out for one another. The more CO2 you have, the more oxygen you can actually get into the cell. Since oxygen is so important for the oxidative metabolism, excuse me, the amount of oxygen you can get into the cell will dictate the amount of energy you can burn from glucose and fat via that very efficient oxidative metabolism versus the glycolytic stress metabolism characterized by lower ATP creation, more lactic acid, more inflammation, more stress, all the stuff we don't want. So carbs, definitely better in that sense. You want to try to get more CO2, you want to try to get them burning through the oxidative metabolism better. However, fat is still important to some degree. You want to make sure you're eating the right types. Now, the other thing is fat also is a little bit more of a preventative measure, because while certain fats are great, can spark the oxidative metabolism, there's also fats that actually will actively hurt your metabolism. And that's very contrary to what carbs are, because all carbs are good. Starches might cause more of an insulin response, might lead to a little more fat gain, but all the glucose is still good for the oxidative metabolism. Same with sugars. Sugars are better. Sugars can, skip that insulin step. But important thing is that all carbs are good. All fats are not good. Specifically, the polyunsaturated fats have very anti-metabolic functions because their double bonds are less stable. They're able to break a lot more easily, and then that causes the cell's mitochondria to start shutting down, to cause a lot of problems, a bunch of inflammation, a bunch of stress, all the stuff we don't want for our metabolisms. So with that, let's dive into exactly why certain fats are better than other certain fats, besides just the PUFAs. So there's really two main reasons. First of all, you want to make sure that all the fats you're eating are saturated. A little bit of monounsaturated is okay from stuff like avocados, macadamias, olive oil. Those are all okay. Those are all, don't go overboard with them, don't heat them, but the monounsaturated fats, the oleic acid in them are okay. But you want the primary fat in your diet to be saturated fat from things like coconut, butter, beef fat, dairy, stuff like that. And the reason is because the saturated fat does not have any double bonds, so it's much more stable than the polyunsaturated fat, which has a lot more double bonds, and therefore it doesn't cause any oxidative damage. But at the same time, it is able to dilute the PUFAs. It's not entirely what's happening, but the PUFAs have this chain reaction that happens when the double bonds break, creating free radicals that can interact with each other and cause a whole bunch of problems. The saturated fat helps to dilute them a little bit more, spread them out, suppress lipolysis so that you're not like any PUFAs in your fat stores aren't just coming out and starting to break down that way. And all of that helps to protect the cell's function so that you can slowly work out all the PUFAs that do get in your body or that you're trying to detox from your fat stores. Your liver has a process called glucuronidation. It can take those PUFAs, it can methylate them, send them out, get rid of them, all the stuff that it needs to do. So first step is eating more saturated fat helps to dilute that PUFA effect and help to prevent the free radical and oxidative damage that they can cause. Now the second thing is certain fats have longer chains, shorter chains, medium chains, somewhere in between. Basically the chain length within a fatty acid will determine a bunch of different effects that it has in your body. Specifically, the long chains they act like normal, like any other fat does. They are the ones that require the carnitine transport system in order to get into the mitochondria, in order to be burned in the first place. They're the ones that have to go through the small intestine to get packaged with the lipoproteins to do the LDL, HDL, all that good stuff. Whereas the medium and short chain ones will go through the portal vein when they get digested straight to the liver. liver processes them and gets moving. Now the thing is, these fatty acids, the medium and short chain fatty acids, are short enough that they don't require that carnitine transport system to get into the mitochondria of the cell. And so they sneak their way in, they help to spark more of that oxidative metabolism on their own without even like suppressing the glucose response or suppressing the uptake of carbs. And that all ends up leading to a better liver function. Your liver is able to create more energy for all of its cells, increases its performance. And since the liver is the one that converts T4, the inactive thyroid, into T3, that means more thyroid, that means more oxidative metabolism all throughout your body, which is obviously something that we all want. So you're diluting your PUFAs, you're eating more of the medium and short chain fatty acids so that you can ramp up that and spark that oxidative metabolism that's so important. And those are really the two big reasons that fat is so helpful, saturated fat, especially sources like coconut oil, which have a lot of the medium and short chain fatty acids. And then, butter has that as well. It's a little bit less proportion, but they have, butter has a lot of the short and medium chain fatty acids. Less in beef, less in some other dairy fats, but in general, those are okay. Those can still, be diluting any PUFAs that you have. They're obviously good sources just to add in a practical sense because you're obviously going to be eating some sort of fat. I do recommend keeping it lower, but you're still going to eat some sort of fat. So those are kind of good sources that are just very highly saturated fat sources that will prevent any of the damage that we were talking about. But really, the big one I like to do is coconut oil because so much higher concentration of short chain and medium chain fatty acids, leading to all of those extra benefits that it can have. So those are my main fat sources. Those are the reasons that you should be eating more of the saturated fat and more of the short and medium chain fatty acids. Hopefully that all made sense. Like I said, I'm a little tired today, so it might not have explained it as well as I could have. It's okay. It's all a learning process. It's all one step at a time. So if you have any questions about it, drop them below. Let me know. I would be glad to answer them. As always, please like, subscribe, and share. I'm trying to get this information out to as many people, and I would love your help to do that. We want to get 1 million people improving their health and their metabolism and moving forward down their path of a better life overall. So that's it for me. I'm going to bounce out of here, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Peace, dude.